the term unicorn became a big part of the NBA lexicon for 3 or 4 years. And apparently, you were the first unicorn.
The NBA is now a league full of unicorns, or players who have the size of centers but the skills of a guard. But while there are now a lot of young unicorns, including Victor Wembanyama and Chet Holmgren, not a lot of fans know that there was once a bust unicorn who came back as a 5-star player.
Man, like through the first 33 games here, it has been nothing but a joy to watch him play. Second in net rating on the team, and the numbers are just off the charts.
His presence on both ends of the floor and just how efficient he's been the entire season, he's a big reason why we got the best team in the league, and he should be rewarded for that.
Kristaps Porzingis was drafted 4th overall in 2015 to the boos of the New York fans when the Knicks chose him over any other well-known American prospect. But nearly at 7'3", Porzingis quickly became a fan favorite in New York by showcasing skills and mobility that no 7-foot player should ever have. With his unique guard-like skills at his height, Porzingis became one of the up-and-coming unicorns of the middle part of the 2010s. In just his 3rd season with the Knicks, he became an all-star and was looking like he was about to become the next great European superstar. But ever since putting up stellar numbers of 22.7 points and 2.4 blocks in his 3rd year in the league, Porzingis hasn't had the same kind of success. He suffered an injury that kept him out of an entire season. After that, the Knicks pulled the plug on him and moved him to Dallas. The 7'3" unicorn was supposed to work well with Luka Doncic and the Mavericks due to his unique combination of size and skill. He can hit the outside shot and finish well inside the basket, but for some reason, things on the court didn't work out well between him and Luka. He still averaged 20 points in 2.5 seasons with the Mavs, but he couldn't quite capture the same magic he had in NYC. There were moments wherein he wanted to be the guy for the Mavs instead of embracing his roles as the second option next to Luka. The partnership just didn't work out. After the Mavericks sent Porzingis to Washington, which has never been the most successful NBA organization in decades, things looked bleak for the Latvian big man. He got criticized for being a bit too soft because he would rather go for turnaround jumpers instead of actually taking it strong to the basket. A 7-footer who can shoot 3-pointers is great and all, but fans and critics were asking Porzingis to be 7'3" inside the paint. Whenever a smaller guy was matched up with him, he couldn't back him down or use his height to get a good look at the basket. He almost always tried to hit the mid-range jumper when defended by a smaller guy. The only problem is that he wasn't really good with his mid-range shot. This often led to poor shot selection or frustrating possessions with both the Knicks and the Mavs. With the Wizards, Porzingis was asked to be the top option on offense, allowing him to average a career-high 23.2 points on 49.8% shooting from the field. But the bust label was still hard to shake off. After all, there must be a good reason why the Dallas Mavericks traded him. Nico Harrison, the president of basketball operations, said, "It was about really giving ourselves the flexibility that we needed to be the team we want to be." And I think that's really the bottom line. We were able to give ourselves more flexibility and then add more depth. In plain terms, the Mavs didn't want Porzingis, and that was why they needed to give him away. To some people, this sounds like the Latvian big man has become a bust. Sure, he averaged career highs in points and field goal shooting with the Wizards during the 2022-23 season, but those were empty numbers because, let's face it, the Wizards weren't going anywhere with a core composed of Bradley Beal, Kristaps Porzingis, and Kyle Kuzma. Porzingis was a bust. At least, that's what the critics were thinking. During the 2023 offseason, the Boston Celtics made huge roster moves that involved a 3-trade deal, sending Marcus Smart to Memphis Grizzlies. In turn, the Celtics acquired KP from the Wizards, who were looking to rebuild. Porzingis was now playing for a true championship contender, but there were still questions about his fitness with the Celtics. At 7'3", Porzingis has the height of a center, but he likes playing outside the paint on offense. On defense, he can block shots and contest layups with his reach, but the soft tag has been hard to shake off for him because he doesn't really play like the traditional center, or at the very least, near the level of the league's best centers in the modern era. But the moment he started playing for the Celtics, Porzingis looks like he was anything but a bust. Well, in the first place, he was never a bust. He could score 20 points on a nightly basis and can provide solid rim protection. The only problem he always had was whether he could fit with a team's current pieces to turn a franchise into a championship contender. The Celtics loved what they saw in Porzingis. It goes without saying that Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are still the first and second options on this team. But Porzingis has been great as a third option on the Celtics after spending his entire career as either the first or the second option. He has slowly been proving himself as the best unicorn who came back as a 5-star player. Porzingis' numbers don't jump out of the building because he is averaging around 20 points and 7 rebounds. But the efficiency of his scoring is what has turned him into a legit championship piece for the Celtics. The attention that Tatum and Brown get on a nightly basis allows Porzingis to find his spots and pick apart defenses who are more focused on the pair of Boston All-Stars. Any defense would rather focus on Tatum and Brown because either or both of them can erupt for 30 points on a nightly basis. KP has taken advantage of this. His outside shot hasn't been there, but he has been taking more shots inside the paint due to the Boston spacing. Porzingis is now attempting more than 25% of his shots within 3 feet from the basket, instead of taking turnaround jump shots or long two-pointers. We can credit the Boston Celtics' system for that. With Tatum and Brown attracting defenders, the 7'3" Latvian can easily find his spots inside the basket. Boston also has Derek White and Drew Holiday, who are both willing passers. So whenever KP finds himself open under the basket, the guards are almost always going to give him the ball. This allowed him to shoot over 50% from the field for the first time in his career. But that's not all. Porzingis has been a good help defender for the Celtics this season. Tatum, Brown, White, and Holiday are all capable perimeter defenders. But even the best defenders in the NBA also need help from time to time. That's where KP comes in to provide timely help defense by swatting away shots or scaring smaller players away from the basket with nice defensive rotations. It goes without saying that Porzingis has become a perfect fit with a loaded team like the Boston Celtics. This is similar to Andrew Wiggins' situation in Golden State. When he was with the Minnesota Timberwolves, Wiggins struggled in his role as a first or second option. But when he was traded to the Warriors, he flourished as a third or fourth option and was able to put in a lot of effort on the defensive end of the floor to win a championship in 2022. While the entire world is now obsessed over the French unicorn over at San Antonio, Porzingis has been showcasing his unicorn skills as well. The Latvian unicorn is on the best team he has ever been in his entire career, and it seems like he has adjusted well to his role. This wasn't the same situation in Dallas, wherein he was a bit too immature to accept that he had to accept his role as a second option. While he was one of the top options in Washington, no one really cared for the Wizards, to be honest. But with the Celtics, he can flourish by playing off his stellar teammates instead of trying to do it all on his own. There are no more isolation plays and questionable contested mid-range shots for KP. Instead, he recognizes mismatches, studies how the defense reacts, and takes advantage of every opportunity he sees. He is now more willing to play off the ball instead of having it in his hands and forcing isolation plays. He can play off of the point guards in the pick and roll or the pick and pop to take advantage of his unique combination of size and skill. So, in short, the Bust Unicorn came back as a 5-star player and is looking to make some noise with a Boston Celtics team that has been at the top of the East for the majority of the regular season. But how long will this last? Everything about Porzingis starts and ends with his health. Since he suffered an ACL injury, he has played at least 60 games only once in the last 5 seasons. The Celtics have done a great job keeping him healthy by managing his minutes and decreasing his offensive load. But those 7'3" knees can only take so much. If KP manages to stay healthy, the league is in deep trouble. But Porzingis' lack of playoff experience could be a fatal flaw. He has only appeared in the playoffs twice, and both appearances weren't exactly fruitful. The Celtics are headed for the playoffs and are likely going to finish the regular season as the top seed, barring any injuries. If Porzingis wants to completely shake off the bust and the soft tags, he would have to step up in the postseason and deliver solid performances on both ends of the court, just like what Wiggins did for the Warriors during the 2022 championship run. If he could do that, well, let's just say that banner number 18 won't be too far off of a dream for the Boston Celtics.